Good morning, plant family. This is Mona from Plant Therapy. Thanks for checking in. Today, I wanted to share a little something with you. A few weeks ago, a week or two ago, I posted a video on Who Needs a Green Thumb was the title. And that video was all about tips and tricks and things that have worked for me in my plant journey, and was mainly for people who need tips on how to become a plant parent, how to keep their plants alive. Heard it time and time again. I don't have a green thumb. I kill plants. And I tell them all the time, it's just an experiment. You buy the plant and you find out what this plant needs. Try to provide it with that in your environment and then take it from there. But I'm not going to go too far into that. You can refer to the other video. I'll try to attach it at the end if I can figure that out. I'm new to this YouTube experience here, learning how to link and do all that great stuff. But anyway, so what I wanted to discuss today was that it starts with your choice of a plant, like that you decide to bring home. There are some plants that are really needy and they need high humidity. They need a particular amount of light. They need this, they need that. You bring them home, they look so beautiful, and then within no time, they start declining. And you don't even know why. And usually it's because something's not right with the environment. First and foremost, when you choose a plant at that store, look at that plant. Make sure it looks healthy. Look underneath the leaves. See if you see anything disturbing. Make sure that you don't see any webbing. Sometimes you might want to tug on the leaves to make sure that they didn't just take a bunch of cuttings, stick it in there and make it look full, just so you know, in case you go home and decide you want to repot that plant. This happened to me with this particular plant. When I brought it home, it was so full, so beautiful, and I just wanted to change the pot or something. I don't know, or maybe it was the medium it was in, I don't know. But I flipped that thing over and the whole thing fell apart. And I found myself like having to figure out how to get it to look just as full and beautiful as it did in the original pot. But that's something just to keep in mind. Tug on those little leaves a little bit. Make sure they don't come right out. Could be that the plant's not rooted yet, And if it is, you don't have to walk away from it. But as a new plant parent, try to find something that's rooted and well. Take the pot, look underneath. Do you see a bunch of roots coming out the bottom? It might be pot bound, and that's not usually a good thing. If it is, it might need to be repotted, and depending on how much experience you have with plants, you may or may not be comfortable doing that. So plant selection is so important. Get to know what the plant needs. Research. Do what you have to, find out names, go to the store, ask somebody for help if you're not familiar. And here I just wanted to show you a couple of little plant families and the different types. I don't have all of them, but there are so many out here that are beautiful and you can experiment with. My thing is, I usually try to go with the green form first. They're usually the easiest. And then I venture to variegated plants within that family, one by one, see how I do with each kind. Well, here, let's get right into it. Our pothos is the first one, the most common plant, I think, as far as houseplants go. You grew up, you always knew somebody who had one of these in the office, at home, in these beautiful hanging baskets, because they are viney plants, so they look really beautiful. Sometimes people give them poles to climb up, depending what look you're going for, what you want. But they have variegated versions of that plant family too. Here we go. This is a Mandula pothos. And this one was sold to me as a snow queen. Sometimes I'm not sure about the plant labels, and with pothos, there's so many kinds. And I could make a whole video on trying to tell one from the other. But there are plenty of videos out there now that you can refer to that will go into detail about the different varieties of pothos. I tell you, it's one of my favorite. You can have them vining down from a hanging pot, or you can give them a pull. And let me get over here and show you one that I've given a pull to. This pretty neon pothos. And with pothos, what I like about the pothos leaves is they don't get smaller. Even if you put them in a hanging basket, they stay nice and big. You'll find with some of the trailing plants or vining plants that you put like in a hanging pot, like with the philodendron, which I'll get into that in a moment, their leaves will get smaller if you have them hanging. Once it gets that vine and that beautiful jungle-like look, the leaves do get smaller as the plant grows. So I kind of like pothos because they don't do that. But according to other videos and advice out there, if you give your plant a pole to climb up, the leaves should get bigger. Okay, now, hey plant family, I almost forgot. I'm going to have to insert this somewhere. I almost forgot snake plants. Sansevieria, which I think were changed to, the name was changed to Dracaena, but I think people still refer to them as Sansevieria, but commonly known as snake plants. These guys are very, very, very easy. You can easily kill them if you overdo the watering. Their leaves are nice and thick, and that means that they hold on to water. So the worst thing you could do is over water. My first snake plant, I definitely killed off because I was getting carried away with the watering. So just keep that in mind. Now this one, this is the mama plant of this plant. This plant, there's another little baby one somewhere. I'm not sure where I put it. And she's still kicking out little pups right here. See, I can see. Let me get out of the light. Sorry. 1, 2, 3 little pups in this pot. So what you can do is, if you want to separate them, it gets a little too crowded in there, you just take it out and gently separate the roots and pot the little pups by themselves in another pot. Now you can let these go for a long time, like the ZZ plant. Take your time with watering. I'm sorry, I don't have the variety names right now, but I'll try to include them on the screen. This is a baby from the mama plant here. And as you can see, the mama plant's still producing, popping out those little pups. So I got this one. Couldn't believe how fast she grew. Look at that. That's pretty. That leaf is really pretty. And then here, I think this one is called Zylanica. Look how tall she is. Of course, she's on the table. But I put her outside for a while this past summer. And boy, did she start shooting up. Very, very beautiful. Very pretty. I love these. Now, you'll start seeing more snake plants in my household this year coming if you stick with me. But I just definitely wanted to include snake plants in the category of easy plants because they really are. You can neglect them, they'll be okay. When you get up close to them, here's another one on the floor. You get up close, if you see wrinkling on the leaves where it looks a little dehydrated, then you know to get that watering can and get busy. But they are very easy, beautiful plants. I have a moonlight that was struggling, or moonshine. I forget what it's called. I think it's a moonshine. And it was struggling. I chopped it back drastically. It had picked up in the summertime when it went outside on my deck. But it just, the older leaves were starting to revert back. Um, so I wanted that pretty silvery leaf. So I just chopped it back hard. And the other day I noticed that it has a little pup coming up in the same pot. So we'll see how that one does. Hopefully by the summertime I can show you something really beautiful. Okay, snake plants. Here I have the Synapsis family of plants. Now I have other ones here, but these three, oh my God, I love them. They're frequently mistaken for pothos because of the similar shapes of the leaves and just their growing habits, but they're different, a different family. Synapsis is what it's called. This big leaf one is the Exotica, and I'm going to start training her up on this pole here. Although I don't think she really needs to be because her leaves are huge, but I would love to see that they stay nice and big. So here's that. And this one is called Silvery Ann. Love the way these leaves are at the edge. Isn't that pretty? And these are nice and velvety to touch. One thing I've learned with velvety leaves is that you don't want water sitting on them, although I haven't had any problems with these guys. And this one is called, I'm going to botch up the name, Argyraeus, or I don't know, but I'll put the name on the screen for you when I edit the video. Really easygoing, and I just love this cute little pot. I bought this thing. It was so teeny tiny and cute. It's very, very easygoing plant. Doesn't need a lot of light. It sits on a table in my living room right under the lamp. It's far away from the windows. That's fine. Yeah, very pretty. Synapsis. Nice plant family to get into. Very easygoing. And if you have low light, these plants supposedly don't need much light. Now, over here, for a really new plant parent, you got to get it ZZ. These plants are beautiful. Now I have a bigger one. I'll add a photo later of that one. I just didn't want to lift it up and bring it here. This is that green variety. So pretty and so easygoing. These guys, you can ignore them for a whole month, not feed them for a whole month, and I mean water. And it won't be mad at you. I tell you, these are really easygoing plants. And this one here, can't think of the name right now, but look at the leaf, the color of these leaves. Again, very easygoing. The new growth comes in this pretty green and then eventually turns into this. And I need to clean these leaves off. Remember, as a new plant parent, you want to clean the leaves of your plant and keep insects away and just let the leaves breathe, photosynthesize, whatever the word is. Now, another very easygoing, in my opinion, starter plant is a Hoya. Now, Hoyas, oh my gosh, they are beautiful. Give them bright light, let them dry out between watering, and you're good to go. This one This one, the name change. I gotta look at that. It was macrophylla, I believe, or macrophylla, not sure. Look at that little baby leaf. Isn't it beautiful? It's coming in with the red because I sit it right under the grow lights. I want the plant to look a little sun stressed, start to get more color around the edge of the leaf. And look at that. Isn't that beautiful? These can flower. They're really nice. Easygoing plants because you can tell by the leaf when it needs to be watered. You know, it's nice and firm. I know they're good to go. Leave them alone until they start to get a little softer to touch. And then I go get the watering can and water them. Well, uh, these are really beautiful plants. They can flower for you too. Here is the one, most common one I think you'll find like in big box stores. It is, let's bring it down here so you can see it better. This is the Hoya carnosa Crimson Princess. Look at that. It gets these pink stems. And like I said, these Hoyas can flower for you. It takes a while sometimes. I don't really know what the trick is for sure. There are different thoughts out there as to how to get a Hoya to flower. And they're unusual looking flowers, very pretty. Each one is different from the other. And then I have here next to it, Hoya Wyerii variegata. I've heard some people call it tricolor, so I'm not sure. But as you can see here, the reddish, pinkish color is because of the bright light that it's given. Now, some plants will let you know that they don't like the bright light. They'll start to burn. Then you know you need to pull that plant away. And then with some of the Hoyas, if they get like that pale green color, then maybe it's just too much light. Pull them away from the light a little bit, maybe not direct light. But I have no problems with these guys. So I definitely would suggest Hoyas to a new plant parent. And then over here, philodendron. This one is a green princess. Let's see if I can give you a better view. The green princess is very easygoing as well. I was getting small leaves, so I just put it near brighter light, grow lights that I have in the house. And it started giving me bigger leaves. So plants will let you know what they want. If they're not doing too well, then you need to start wondering and experimenting and seeing what's going to give them what they need to grow the way you want them to, with nice, healthy leaves, size, and shape. Everything looks good. All right, anyway, getting back to this. I think I'm getting a little sidetracked. Here is a philodendron micans. And this one, so far, I don't have it in a hanging pot, but I think eventually I will. I've been putting it near the window, and the light is making these leaves turn that pretty reddish color. I love that about this plant. It's velvety, very pretty, delicate leaf. But again, when it needs to be watered, it just gets droopy. And when you notice that, just get that watering can and give that baby what it needs. Okay, so I think I covered some of the easiest plants. Again, remember when you go to a big box store because the prices are cheaper. You can go to a nursery, but shop around first. Get to know what you can get the plant for. If you're going to get a common plant, you don't want to spend a lot of money for it. And another tip I'd like to give is get a small pot of the plant. Don't spend like a lot of money on the plant if you're not sure if you're going to keep it alive or not. And then, once you start getting successful at keeping that plant alive, you start getting bolder and trying different ones. But just do your homework. There are plenty of YouTube videos out here that will go into detail about the different plant families. Do your homework, find out what it needs. If you live in a dark place, Get low to medium light plants. Maybe get a grow light for them. Just don't set the plant up if it needs bright light. I was shopping yesterday and it was between these two plants. I was going to bring them both home actually. I fell in love with these plants, but the one I looked and saw that it needed bright light and it was a nice sized plant and I knew I didn't really have any room for it right now. I will eventually. So I put that one back and I went with the one that takes the medium to bright light. And the other one, the way the plant grew, it wouldn't take up a lot of space. So that's something else to keep in mind, especially once you start getting a jungle in your place. And you will, trust me, you'll fall in love with all these and get bolder and bolder and go buy others. And then you'll start trying some rare plants and whatever, but just keep your enthusiasm in check. Don't get too carried away spending that money, because some plants are very, very expensive. And just imagine you put your money into a plant that costs you $100, bring it home, and in 2 weeks that baby's dead. You don't want to do that. So just live and learn. It's all an experiment. And I'll try to attach that other video with the tips and tricks that I made, the who needs a green thumb. If you don't see it attached at the end of this video, then just go to my channel and look for it and check it out. It gets into detail about lighting, watering, and what have you. Okay? So enjoy your plant journey. Get out there, buy some plants, and have some fun with it. All right? Take care.